After living here in Nairobi, Kenya for over a year now, one thing that I've noticed, as I stated in my previous video, was that everything here is never the official price. If somebody tells you something costs $100, you can start negotiating as low as $25, and they might even sell it for $30. And yes, this is a cultural thing that has historically been all over the continent of Africa, but I always noticed that this is probably one reason that it contributes to the fact that Africa is underdeveloped. And I don't know if you guys know or not, but I don't think that having unset prices and having to negotiate everything is actually assisting in developing Africa. So today I'm going to break down exactly why bargaining culture is keeping Africa poor. I'm Austin Holloman. If you don't know me already, I'm a world traveler. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. Now, first of all, why do Africans negotiate everything in the first place? I've been to 5 continents around the world, and this is the only continent in the world where it seems like everybody's trying to get over, when really they're not trying to get over. It's just how things have been for a while. So first of all, why do Africans in the first place want to negotiate every price rather than having a set price on the wall, on the product, so that way people know exactly what they have to pay for what they want? In many African countries, a large portion of the economy is considered informal. These are examples such as street vendors, open air markets, or a small family business. And unlike supermarkets or chain stores, these prices usually are not fixed by a corporate system, and sellers set prices based on demand, supply, and the buyer's perceived ability to pay. And this allows negotiation to ensure that the buyer and seller both feel that they're getting a fair deal. And for buyers, it's a way to stretch limited budgets in economies where wages can be inconsistent and inflation is common. And we'll get into why that whole the buyer and seller feel like they're getting a fair deal is actually not exactly what it seems like. Second, it could be a cultural norm because bargaining is seen as a part of the relationship building process, which I don't believe that. It's not just about the money, it's about respect and human connection. And in many African cultures, the first price is viewed as an invitation to negotiate, not the final offer. Now check this out. This is actually pretty funny. Refusing to negotiate can sometimes come off as rude or arrogant, as though you don't want to engage with the seller. Or it could also mean like, oh, I have so much money, so I'm not going to negotiate with you. You want 500 shillings for this, and I know that it's only 100. Just take it. I don't care. That's what they mean by when they say that. Now, the third thing, which is what I believe the most, is it's an adaptation of scarcity, because as we all know, Africa has always been perceived as a poor continent. That being said, African communities have dealt with scarcity and fluctuating trade conditions for a while now, so negotiation became a survival skill. Then, of course, with colonization and post-colonizational periods, this taught these people how to be cautious with money and resource and finding value. Negotiation became a way to level the playing field, especially when there was inequality in who controlled the resources. Now, for the seller and the buyer, this could give them a psychological strategic advantage. For example, sellers, as I said before, will often price goods higher than they expect to sell them for because they are anticipating people to come negotiate in the first place. And buyers already know that. So they both play a game where they meet in the middle. And this keeps the economy dynamic and personal and allows for micro adjustments based on loyalty, repeat business, or even sympathy. Sounds so great, right? Until actually you want to actually create a business that can actually sustain you and your family. But you can't do that because you cannot do a cash flow forecast if you don't know what you're going to sell. What do I mean by that? Or you don't know how much you're going to make. If I am selling a product here in Kenya or some other African country, and I see 10 people, and let's say I make 20,000 shillings that day. The issue with this is the next day you can see and sell to 10 people and make 200 shillings. So how can you effectively scale and grow a business with that sort of financial outlook on your business? You can't even do any predictions. When you're in the West or anywhere else in the world, the reason that they're able to scale and get loans and investors is because they are able to show forecasts and have predictions. For example, when I was a barber, I was like, okay, you know what? If I want to make $10,000 this month, I need to see this many people in my chair this week, because I knew I was charging $80 a haircut. I need to see this many people this week. Now, if you're charging $80 for your service, but that could be negotiated down to 25, and every 10 people get cut at $25, and then 2 people come through for 80, how can you effectively predict and actually maintain and sustain a reliable income? And not to mention, this also will lead to low trust and formal pricing because people assume the price is already inflated, so they undercut. And this is the issue when I got here because I was like, okay, you know what? Damn, they're lying to me. Like, why do they keep? I'm thinking they're trying to get over me. They're just jacking up the price. But really, because I mean, here's the thing: if they're jacking up the price that high, I wonder, do they have a sheet somewhere where they know how many of these beds that they need to sell, or they know how many of these couches that they need to sell? It's impossible for them to have that sheet because they don't know what price they're going to sell the beds at. That's not how that works. And then on top of that, I remember I had a meeting with actually like a financial service here in Nairobi. And one thing that he stated was that a lot of foreign investors are actually afraid to invest in Africa. Granted, because they know about terrorism, wars, Nigerian scams, stuff like that. But then if you throw this into the mix, like, hey, imagine telling an investor in Singapore, hey, I want to invest in this business in Nairobi. I want to invest in this business in Kampala, but they're not going to have any set prices on the products. Who the hell is going to give you a loan with that statement being out there? Yeah, it's culturally acceptable. Yeah, even if we do set prices on the products at $500 per bed frame, they might sell one at $125. No wonder they don't want to invest in a small business because, I mean, there's no set prices. And then on top of that, as I stated before, it's viewed as the buyer and seller both get something that they can both agree with. But in my opinion, the only person that's winning in a negotiation is the buyer, not the seller. Because you know you would like to sell this product or service at $500, but then you have somebody that comes along and they're basically giving you the bottom of the barrel price and they talk you all the way down to $100. You are now at a deficit. You're now making the bottom. You're basically, you went from expecting a livable price on your product to now an impoverished price. And if you keep selling at that bottom rate, how the hell can you even reinvest in your business? How can you project what you're going to make next week and you don't have any positive? Everything is just fluctuating all the time. It's all over the place. That's not how businesses grow, is by having all these random patterns that are just, and they're intentionally random. I know in business, there's ups and downs. Even my YouTube channel, you see my views go up for a while and then they'll go down for a while. That's just natural. Everything in life works like that. But I'm not intentionally causing that to happen. By negotiating, it's intentionally causing those sort of things to happen. How can you set someone's salary or plan for inventory when the price of everything is negotiable and fluctuating? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And no, let me make sure this clear for the people that think that I was sent to Nairobi by the CIA. I'm going to tell you guys again, they do not hire black folks to do that. If for what y'all are trying to accuse me of doing, it would be somebody white. They don't send native-born black Americans to African countries to cause destruction. I would love for you guys to come up with an example of that. I've had people in my DMs try to tell me they haven't shown me one person that was actually true with. I'm not trying to change the culture in Africa. I'm just giving my opinion and my commentary on what I see. But until, not just in Kenya, continent-wide, until the negotiation thing goes away and they're constantly trying to overcharge, Africa will never be able to get the amount of investment that it wants. And so that is something that won't change overnight, but it will change with more foreigners coming here time and time again. And you will see that now there are some Africans that I've worked with here in Kenya. Of course, it's not absolute. Some of them do understand this, but usually they've been to a Western country and they've learned, okay, well, hey, England's economy is pretty good and they're not negotiating everything. So then they come back and they have set prices and they actually learn how to do business the way it has done in the West. And we can't say it doesn't work in the West because it is working. It is working in the West in places like Singapore, even places like Thailand. And yes, you can negotiate in all those places, but it's not the norm for every single business that you go to. But I'm Austin Holloman again. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not here to offend anybody. I just wanted to open that discussion on my viewpoint of negotiation and how it is detrimental and is keeping Africa poor. Let me know what you'd like to see next. And guys, this is why I tell you it's important before you come to Africa to try to do business to actually have the proper network. People like Kevin, people like Troy that have been here for over a decade. These are people in my network that have made the mistakes, that have been scammed. They've seen people come here and try to work their way around and think they could cheat the system and don't understand what's really going on and lose it all. If you guys want to join that network and you don't want to be one of the sorrow stories and you want to do it the right way, click the link in the first pinned comment description, book a consultation, and I'll inform you on everything you need to know and connect you with the right people so you can actually be able to scale your business here in Africa and not fail.